cheaper housing. It's something that a lot of people are looking for nowadays. And to find something that's rare, cheaper housing, sometimes you have to look in a non-conforming type of structure. And one of those non-conforming, non-standard types of structure is a mobile home. Okay. Now, mobile homes can look nice, and they can be bigger. They can look very similar to many homes, and they can last. You know, when I started visiting Florida and I was looking at different types of housing, one of them mobile homes, a lot of people say, well, a mobile home will get blown away in a hurricane. But a lot of the mobile homes that I've seen are built from 1970 to 1980. And that means over 50 years of durability. They've lasted over 50 years. So mobile homes can last. Mobile homes can look nice. And mobile homes can be an option for cheaper housing. But there's always a but. There's three things that I'm going to write down on this board. Three things that may help you to determine if a mobile home is a good option for you. Okay. So let me write this down, and when I write this down, if you appreciate these videos, just click the thumbs up. It's free. And the first thing you want to know when looking at a mobile home, this is a key thing, that's why it's number one, okay, is the land that the mobile home is going to sit on. Okay. Do you own the land, even if there's an HOA, and sometimes there's not an HOA, it all depends, or do you rent the land? Meaning, is there a lot lease? Okay. If there's a lot lease and you don't own the land, I think the mobile home option is a negative, because even though if you buy the mobile home, yes, you own the structure, if you don't own the land, moving a mobile home that's anchored into place is really not too feasible and really not what most people are trying to accomplish. So in my opinion, one thing that you have to determine when looking at non-conforming housing, and remember, non-conforming housing means that the masses, it doesn't appeal to them. It also means that the big banks, most of them don't consider it a standard house, so it's a more risky asset. We'll talk about that more in a minute. And so you're going to have a smaller pool of buyers and a smaller amount of financial institutions that are going to be looking to loan to you. But if you don't own the land, just buying the mobile home to me is a complete waste. For most people, not for all people, so don't get offended if you do it, okay? All right, so land ownership, I think you want that if you're going to look at a mobile home. And the next thing, I hope I'm going to spell this right, is financing, okay? I kind of just touched on it. Financing a mobile home, sometimes, even if you own the land, and you want to own the land, that's why it's number one. Whether you own the land or not, the main thing you're going to struggle with is financing. Because again, the banks don't consider this a standard type of house, so it's more risky. And that means they can't bundle your mortgage or your loan for the property and resell it to as many people. So they are not interested, many banks, especially an older mobile home. But the issue is sometimes it's a cash-only buy, and that eliminates some people. Now, sometimes with the cash-only buy, some people buy it as a second home. They take out a home equity on another loan, and they get the cash that way. Some people get a personal loan, a 401k loan, and then they have some other money, and then they buy it that way. So, you know, you may not have it sitting in your bank, but you may be able to get it and buy it cash. So financing, you got to consider that, because you're not going to get a 3% down 30-year mortgage on a mobile home, okay, even if you own the land. So you either have to come with cash, or most standardly, the most standard loan for a newer mobile home, some below 20 years old, they won't even loan on them. But for a newer mobile home, there are some banks that will loan, but you have to put 25% down. Okay. And you know, it's a higher interest rate sometimes, because it's a more risky asset for banks. So those are things you got to consider. You get the cheaper home, and sometimes it's even cheaper when you consider definitely owning the land. But the financing is the tricky part, okay? And that's why it's a little bit cheaper. Everything's priced accordingly. Everything's priced accordingly. But sometimes it's a good deal if you have the cash, or if you can do the non-conforming financing, So it's something you have to think about, though, and that's the reason it's cheaper. But it's still a good possibility for some people, not for all people. The final thing you have to consider is the mobile home structure itself. 90% of the time, just the structure goes down in value. It's a depreciating asset. It's like an RV that's basically been anchored down into the ground. Okay? It's a mobile home. It's like an RV. It's like a vehicle. Basically, is a trailer. So, not all the time, but again, 90% of the time, over time, that structure is going to go down in value. And that's why I go back to bullet point number 1. If you own the land, and the land is valuable or has some level of value based on the sales price and based on the location that you want it to be in, all those things you have to consider. If you're going to live in it, you don't want it to just be cheap land. You want to live in that town or live in that city. You want to live where that supermarket is in that town, that cafe. You want to live there, okay? It's not just cheap land. So you got to see yourself living there if it's not just an investment. And you have to see that there's some value in the land, okay? Because the land is the purchase, really. The structure, the mobile home, if it fits your needs, it's cherry on the top, and it could have some value, but the value that it has for resale is probably going to go down. Okay? So when buying a mobile home, don't get negative on it, but do your homework on it. And your homework, all the homework I've done, all the research I've done, all the experience that I have, this is it. You want to own the land, not a lot lease, not a lot lease. If you can avoid it, no disrespect if you got to do it, but you want to own the land, and then you got to understand the financing. Either you could do all cash, or you have to put a lot down, and it may be a higher interest rate, and then you got to accept and understand that the mobile home structure itself will go down in value, but hopefully the land will go up, and hopefully even the structure, even if it goes down in value, it's something you can enjoy and get years of enjoyment out of, and take care of it, and it takes care of you. And that's my video, 3 bullet points, very clear, on a Dollar Tree whiteboard, okay, giving you a simple lesson. Remember, most people shop at the Dollar Tree. Most people need, you need to give it to them basic. Do you want me to have a suit and a tie on, okay, and stand behind a beach? A lot of people who do that, guys, they don't even own the land they live on. I mean, you could, guys, you could wear a 3-piece suit, okay, in a beautiful office building and give a lecture on like a digital whiteboard and be a complete fraud. Cosmetic beauty. I bought a piece of property once. Cosmetically, it was beautiful, but the people in the community overall sucked. And even though it was an asset, I didn't want to live there. And what that taught me was, it's like dating. Even if someone cosmetically looks beautiful, if there's no chemistry, if there's no mutual given energy back and forth that's reciprocal, respect, love, appreciation, it's not worth it. You know, and that's what one thing you learn if you want financial freedom is you got to stop trying to impress other people. But you have to understand the financial parts of things, because buying a non-conforming thing has a financial risk. But don't, and this is not for people in their teens, 20s, because I lived a life. You got to live your life a little bit where you buy nice stuff, you know, show off a little bit. That's normal. But as you get to your 30s, 40s, and beyond, stop trying to impress people, because people don't really care. You got to live with the financial results, and you got to live your own life. You should wear a shirt on top of your head, have hundreds of thousands in the bank, live in a mobile home, own the land, and live a great life. But many people, guys, they got a very nice car, whether it's a $70,000 pickup truck, whether it's a $70,000 Kia Soul SUV. They got 2 kids, a pet, a beautiful home, a nice outfit on, and they're in debt out the wazoo, guys. I mean, forget about it. And they're not financially free. So appearances. Well, you say, oh, appearance, I'm going to live in a mobile home, I'm going to live in a trailer. Well, you want to go lease your Kia SUV? You want to go, you know, buy a house above your means? You know, you want to go put as little down as possible? I mean, I'm not saying all those things are wrong, but I'm just saying, for me, I remember this as I got older. When you're young, live wild. When you get older, who cares what people think? Because they ain't you. You got to do what you got to do for you. And most people are not financially free. However, most people also don't understand. You don't want lot land. You don't want lot rent. You want to own the land. You have to understand the financing part of it, and you got to understand. Look, your structure is going to go down in value. The land's the value, so you got to accept that. Okay, everything has to counterbalance. I hope this video helped. Click a thumbs up, share, and subscribe. If you're not subscribed, I know it's a little pain in the ass, but all you got to do is click it. It costs you nothing. Take that effort. Why? Because I appreciate it, and I hope this video helped you. Thank you.